Alright, so part one of the turbo E36 build. We pulled the front clip off, pretty much the entire cooling system.
Manifold.
Which, by the way, you probably don't have to pull the entire cooling system apart, or the clip off, but we thought it'd be a lot easier just to do that, because then you can literally like get right in here.
And it's already been off, so you don't need to drill out the things again.
And we've already had it off, so it just comes out pretty easy. We got a, bumper, huge pile of parts over here. Place to set the head once we get it off. We also got the manifolds off. So next up is just pulling the valve cover off. Then the cams, cam trids, and lifters. Then just set it over there. So
also make sure you set it to TDC.
Yeah, we also set it to TDC just to be safe. So yeah.
After we got the valve cover off, we went ahead and took off all of the Vanos nuts all around here, and then we also took off the engine hoist point here because that's attached to it, and then I believe that's all you need to get off. And then we depressed it and put this Allen right here through the back of this thing to hold this depressed.
This chain's loose now.
And now we're gonna try to spin this exhaust cam on the Vanos unit clockwise so that this will pull off, and then we can pull the unit off. Pulling the Vanos unit apart, big problem last night, but this spring I saw in a video was the opposite way. It came off with the curved part facing towards the cam. You can see that. Yeah, it came off this way. So put it that way. The head is kind of off. I mean, okay, I gotta run you through some stuff on what not to do, because last night when we were working on this, we started, because we don't have the tool for the Vanos, so we pulled the cover off first with its black video. He actually has a whole video on how to do this like the wrong way, but then his video stops right after you get it off, and then you don't take this out, and yeah, you don't take those gears off. But basically there's gonna be a little, that one is gonna go on this side, and these are actually faced like this way on the car. Like this is the part that's touching the head, and then the nuts go on this thing on the other side going that way. And then to get it off, what you have to do is, since this piece here, there's a cap, it's going over that, and then you can see there's this washer that goes on top of that bearing, and then the cap goes over that and screws down tight. And if you use a regular socket to try to get this off, this head will round because you need like a special socket or something. So if you like really get stuck, then what we ended up having to do was cutting a slit straight down it and then trying to do it with a flat head, but that broke off this part here. So then we put a vice grip with the jaw on this part of the nut and this part of the nut over here. So right there, I'm just coming on the other side of the nut. So here and here. And then we pinched this together. You're gonna pinch it on right here, and you're gonna pinch on the back side because there's like kind of a clutch. Just so you can see how that moves, and then put it together. It's like hard to move, so you clamp that with a vice grip to keep it together, and then the nut that's here, you need to, it's like regular thread, and get that out. And then this bolt here is reverse threaded, so you can, after you get this nut out, you can just take this bolt out and then get the entire unit off, and then after that you gotta start taking out head bolts. You have to take off this coolant port back here. In the car, the hose is right here. This hose. It's gonna go right back there. And then you gotta take that off. You gotta take off every one of these. There's, I think, 7 on each side, so 14 in total. And then there's gonna be a E-Torx down there. I believe it's an I believe that's an E8, as well as the one that's going to be in that hole. And then if you have all of the bolts, the 14 bolts down it that are E12s, I believe, then you can pull it off. Look up, I'm not sure if you need to do it, but we looked up a torque sequence to torque the head down and then just took them off in reverse order. It's kind of like a zigzag pattern, how you would expect, like, you know, but yeah, just go reverse order of the thing if it matters. I'm not really sure, but also another thing to remember is that this is an interference engine, so the valves are going to drop below the head a little bit. So make sure that you either leave it in time where it's at TDC, or you can also move. Let's see it yet. Where's the mark? I think it's TDC is like there right now. But if you move TDC to, I believe, right here, then this piston and that piston will be in line. So you're like, all the pistons will be dropped way below any valves. So you have no chance in hitting them. So to get out the cam, or to get the nuts on the studs, we gotta take the cam off because they don't fit in this one. They don't fit in that one, and they don't fit in the front ones. So cam's gotta come out so the cam trays can come out, and then we can put the head on and the nuts on and stuff.
This is for ARP studs.
It's for ARP studs, the 10 mils. But first cap is A1, and then it goes all the way to the back of the engine, A7. A1, A7 for exhaust side, for the exhaust side. And then we have it set up, as the boy Quinn Clark said, to get this pointed basically straight down, cylinder 1, and then check if all of the other valves are pretty much open or closed, I guess I should say. If the cam isn't pressing down on the lifters, only the first cam, the first cylinder, and then gonna take those caps off and this cap off, and then we can take this cap off, because this is the only one that should be under a new load. So the same thing, we did the same thing for the intake side, which has, where is it? I think it says, oh, it says it on here, but it's on the right presentation. The E on these caps is it for intake, I don't know, some German word, but it's again 1 to 7.
They're facing, you read them from the exhaust side.
Read them from the exhaust side. This is exhaust, that's intake. That right there, you can see the E7, E6, yeah, all the way to E1. And then this is also where this goes for the Vanos. We are now going through all the bolt holes again. I went through it once to get, or after the head came off. I went through them one time just to get the oil to drain out, and then I dried it off and stuff before we scraped off the head. But now we are going back through it with one of the old head bolts, and we scratched a line, or we used a Dremel to make a little recess right there, and then we're sending them down into the hole so that that recess will catch all the extra like stuff that's in there, so that it'll get a good torque reading, so that when we put it back on, the head doesn't, or the head gasket doesn't leak. So to clean the head's mating surface, we are using some of this purple power and using the Scotch-Brite pads that have the non-stick, the blue ones, and then spraying that, spraying the head, and then just cleaning it off. You can see we got it pretty good and clean. There are ridges around where the compression rings are on the pistons, just like they're machined in. You can probably see that. Yeah, you can see that. And then just go around each one. We're probably also going to clean the actual in here and the valves, and then I think we're ready to put it back on.
Also, when you're pulling this off, there's going to be dowels that are probably going to stick with the block, so make sure that you have another person to help you. Just pull it off all in one, and make sure you don't set it back down, because we found that out the hard way. There's actually marks on the head from setting it on the dowels.
3 people is definitely the way to go. Like,
especially if the cams are still in it. It's pretty heavy.
Fine. There's a mark right there. Right there. Right there. You can see
So there's gonna be a dowel here and then over here. This one.
So like on the right side, the intake side of cylinder 1, and then exhaust side in front of cylinder 6. Back there and right here. With the RSI manifold, the top mount RSI manifold, that's what I have here. I also have the Connor Speed Shop motor mount bushings right back there, which I think to me they look a little bit taller than the OEM, so maybe that might push the engine up a little bit. But for this manifold, you also may have to dent the shock tower here, because I have to dent it. I had to dent it here to get the flange to T4. For a T3, you probably don't need to dent it, but for a T4, you need to dent it right there. And then I also needed to make this dent to be able to not, you can see here actually, the exhaust side of the turbo was hitting on this. So we had to dent that in, squish that in, and then we also had to do this side down here to get the flange to be able to sit over that and then sit down. So I'm probably gonna paint over that since there's some bare metal from smacking it. Tried my best not to crack any of the paint, but it's kind of impossible with the tools that we have here. So paint over that, then I'm gonna gold tape all this off, and then I'm probably gonna put the turbo on with obviously with the gasket, and then the turbo is probably gonna just sit there. I don't think I need to take it off again. So yesterday painted this. It's been drying for the past day. You can see the dents that I made. This is for the flange to go over to sit onto this exhaust manifold, and then this bump was for the actual housing of the exhaust side. So like the big side of the snail for the exhaust. It's gonna hit there, but it's out of the way enough now to fit a turbo blanket on it, so that's good. And then I need to put the stud back over here, but I'm going to gold tape all of this side. So this is done. When you do this, if you're gonna gold wrap it, just know that it's gonna crease like that, and that it's not gonna be perfect or anything. I'm also planning on, I'm probably gonna do this seam of body sealer. I just gotta get the tape. It's over there, but yeah, I think I'm gonna do this, and I'll put the turbo on, and I'll probably show that to you right now. So the turbo is mounted now. and it is turbo blanket, I should say. It's just about everything that it could hit around it. It's touching the valve cover right here. It's touching the thing down here for the water fluid reservoir that would like kind of slot in there. It's also, where else is it hitting? Oh, it hits the hood, like right there. So the hood sits like that high up right now, so I'm thinking maybe a little dent, or maybe not run blanket. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do about that, but this is gonna be the end of this video. Next video, probably gonna be showing us taking the subframe out and taking the oil pan off and getting the bung put on it.